Hello and welcome to Money Club. I'm in charge, bastards.
Is it still Monday?
It is actually Monday. It's not. I don't know what I'm on about. This show's not even called Money Club anymore, is it? It's called Hi, welcome to Electricians Podcast, and I'm in charge. Sam's ill. Sam is very ill this week. Well, has been. I'm not giving the latest because it's personal, but he's not been very well. So I've had to draft in these two buffoons. If you don't know who this is, on this side, that's the wrong way. That's Mark Allison and David Savory. Say hello, people. Go on, then.
Good evening, Jamie. It's
Good
nice
evening.
to be here. I'd heard Sam was having some surgery, so I had the opportunity to maybe get a date with Andrew Tate. I think that's what he's currently up to.
As far as I'm aware, the removal from his arsehole was successful, but I don't know what it was yet. So we'll wait to find out. Dave, how are you getting on?
Yes, okay. Thank you, old man. Thanks for having me on again to share whatever we're talking about.
Not kicked off on any customers lately now?
No. It's annoying because that little microphone dongle, I didn't realise she had actually broken it, as it turns out. So I did a recording, of course, last week with Mark on there and everything, and the audio just came out rubbish because none of the radio mics were working.
I thought we'd be first to post. Then you released, so it's Monday now, recording this in case it don't go out today. You put a CEF live video out last night, didn't you? At 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I just squeezed one out with terrible audio.
That's the last. If you didn't remember material again,
sounds much like my bathroom time, actually. But yeah, it was an interesting event. I didn't get to see enough, as much as I wanted to. But
we're going to come to that because tonight we are going to roast CEF. But first, I have to do the ad read because we're sponsored by Verso. I've never done this before, but what I've done is I've rearranged all the Verso boxes in the background. So I should be able to grab into one, hang on, and say that they make really, really good. What's in here? They make really, really good them. And them. All this stuff's high quality branded Verso gear. They make all this stuff as well. So if you want any of this stuff that I'm holding up that's making my microphone go all crispy, buy it from Verso because they support us so we can support you. And as I was on about the other day to someone, it's great that Verso sponsor us because literally no one else will touch us with a barge pole. So cheers, Verso. And that's only they can only do that because they give such high quality. Thank you very much.
I met the Verso.
It's a shame they don't retail through CEF.
No, I met the Verso guys at CEF live,
I
and
saw
Will
those
was
down there.
Yeah, Will was talking about trying to get a bit more coverage around the wholesale network. So I think it's something he wants to do, but it's probably much more difficult than we imagine.
It is. I've spoke to Will because I've had a problem with it. Will, I don't think Will mind me saying this. I've struggled to get the gear because obviously there's nothing more embarrassing. I don't get paid by Verso, but they do support the pod, so I support them. If I want a fuse board, I can buy it. The accessories are quite hard to come by, and I think they're trying to address that. But I don't know how that all works. It's beyond my area of expertise, our wholesalers function.
Yeah, I think different branches as well. If we could take CEF as an example, they have obviously a core line, but then individual branches can choose what they stock. So I was quite surprised when I went into the one in Stafford to get some Hager solicitor accessories, and they're like, "What? No, we don't do that," because I thought that everybody did that. But different branches seem to have their favoured brands. I think they were stocking Click Skolmore as their favoured brand, whereas my local does Hager. But I've always thought, I've always wondered why my account manager or an account manager at any branch that I frequent doesn't say to the likes of me, "What are you having to buy from elsewhere? What don't we have on our shelves that you're having to go elsewhere to buy?" Because I could say, "Well, I'm having to get these things off Amazon or these things from Edmondson's or something like that." And if they just found what I was having to go elsewhere for, they could go, "Well, you know what, this idiot is buying this stuff, so if we put it on the shelves, he'll actually come and buy it from us." And as an example of that as well, going back to CEF Live, I'm sorry, I'm now rabbiting on here.
That's what it's about. It's a podcast. It's a podcast, Dave. Don't worry about it.
Click Skolmore do these IP68 T junctions, which we use a lot of because we put in a lot of 12-volt spike lights in gardens. We have a landscaper who favours them. So there's a lot of those that we use. I didn't even know. I didn't know I could get them from cities made by Click. I've just been buying them off Amazon because made by Knightsbridge because that's where I know where to find them. But
it's almost like they should let you in the back. They should invite people in the back for a look around every now and again. See what's on the shelves because who knows what's behind those doors.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't frequent my independent, is that I've got absolutely no idea what they've got. And that's where Verso, of course, retail their stuff. But CEF, I know, have got a website, they've got a catalogue. So I can see what's there, what's in stock, what I have to order in, all that sort of stuff. It just makes it easy for me. If I go to the independent, I'm straight into, okay, well, what downlights you got on the shelf then? It's straight into, unless I use them all the time, I've got no idea what their product range is.
They have the catalogue, don't they? Because like there's a consortium of independent retailers and they have a catalogue that's the same for everyone. Whereas CEF, to be fair, and I've said this before, they've got the best catalogue going. There's no one's going to beat that. No one's touching that catalogue. And it is good to have in the van. Even if you're not going to use them, you can just use it to pick stuff out that you want.
I think that's a problem as well these days. Sorry, Mark, I'll let you have a go in a minute. Is that if you go to the likes of Screwfix, they don't have a catalogue anymore. They've got a stupid little touchscreen iPad thing. But sometimes you need to pick up that catalogue and look at what physically is available. It's like, I know I want an item, maybe a bathroom fan or something, but you need to see what range they've got in order to know which one you want, perhaps. And I think, although I support the fact that catalogues are a dreadful waste of resources and that sort of stuff, and their disappearance is probably a good thing. Nonetheless, it is easier to sometimes physically have that bit of paper in front of you that you can browse through, because it's harder to find on a web search, especially if you don't know exactly what it is you're looking for. So someone might say to me, I want a bollard light, for example. I'm like, bollard lights, when am I going to start with them? But if I've got a catalogue in front of me where I can see the different styles, I can sit there in front of the customer going, what about that one? What about that one? Instead of trying to do it on the web page. Mark, you have a go.
I was going to agree with you basically that our local independent are still chucking out consumer units from one manufacturer with RCBOs from a different one. So dealing with a reputable national is a big win. But I know from talking with Will at the show, he said they are stocked by most of these large wholesalers, CEF, Eddie's and Rexel, I think, but you have to have them ordered into the branch. They actually are approved.
There's like a centralised database.
Predominantly retail through Alert Electrical, don't they? I think so. That's the online retailer that Verso's available from.
Am I right in saying it's a central database for independents? I think that's what Will said to me. There's a central database, and they can order anything off that database, and they are on it.
The trouble is, you're putting your account manager or the staff behind the counter to some work, and they don't necessarily like that. Yes, you can go in and say, okay, I want sockets and switches and a consumer unit from this particular brand or whatever, and they'll be like, who, what? And then they've got to go and find where they can get that from and get it all ordered in, whereas they're more likely to say, well, why don't you just use this stuff we got on the shelf right here? It is possible. I have done it before, but it's kind of frowned upon because you're putting them to extra effort.
This brings us nicely to the fact that we are going to give the CEF live going over tonight, but generally, probably just wholesalers as well and things like that, which just seems to be where it's heading, because we have tried to get a wholesaler on here, anyone from like the guy on the counter to a wholesaler, and it's proved impossible, and I do not know why. They don't want to upset other wholesalers or something, but we just can't get one on. But what are they actually doing? CEF, to be fair, I can't. Has anyone got anything bad to say about it? It doesn't seem that way from social media.
It was amazing, to be fair to him.
I think the likes of CEF got a bit of a knocking because they're seen as being
robbing bastards.
Yeah, but this is what they call when you chat away.
So because they're seen every 2 years.
The sort of the suits behind the industry. A lot of people are like, too big for their own boots or whatever the saying is. I favour them just because they're convenient, and I think when it comes to pricing, any wholesaler branch that you deal with regularly is probably going to treat you favourably.
Is that your preferred then, Dave? Are they your preferred? Are they actually your preferred wholesaler?
Yeah, because they're the closest, and I can park my van there. They're a rare thing, a wholesaler with parking spaces.
What, really?
If I want to go, yeah, I know.
Really?
Because normally these things are buried on some industrial estate, and you've got to navigate your way through a load of parked cars and Arctics. Right. And there's no way to park when you get there, or if you do park, someone's going to block you in or something. And it's just a bit of a nightmare. So I've got Eddie's right next to them, but Eddie's have got parking, and they're a fight to get there.
What about you, Mark? Who's your preference in this thing?
I'm very similar.
Because
I'm the similar to Dave because of where I live. So we're in quite a remote part of the country, and the nearest wholesaler is the independent that don't generally stock anything. So cities are about 11 miles in either direction, and they're the ones who are closest to us. As Dave said, they've got easy parking, most stuff's in stock. we've got a good relationship with the account manager, so the pricing's fine. I don't get the stuff where people come back saying they rip you off. I think if you haven't got an account and you don't know the branch manager, that's something that goes down. But if you do and you deal with them regularly, they seem pretty much on it, to be fair to them.
What in both your local branches then? What are the tea facilities like?
Good.
Have they got that proper machine with the touch screen?
Awesome machine in
I see Dave's not in his head because I'm a whippy boy. I go to Edmonton's in Nottingham because I don't know the cable tech that Edmonton's do. Edmonton's cable tech. So like the branch in Nottingham, for some reason, I don't know if it's because you've got a warehouse to the back of it, it's called Edmonton's Cable Tech branch. And they stock all the obscure cables by the mile. They've got like, you go in there and go, I want, I don't know, 150 meters of 240 mil. They're going to cut at you. It's just like, it's like their national cable storage place. There's a few of them dotted around. And all the time I want odd cable. So I always end up in there. There is no tea machine. It drives me mad. And
Interesting you should say that, because if we go to cities in Coventry or Stratford, they got the touchscreen latte machine, and pucker it is too. But CEF Warwick don't. I'm always having to go at the account manager. In fact, I had to go in at this fucking show.
The one I'm going Blackpool tomorrow. I'm going to Bispam, and there's Edmonton's in Bispam, and they've got the touchscreen coffee machine. I will go and buy something from there because they've got one. And is it not just simple maths that a coffee machine sucks people in? I can't work out why wholesalers got rid of them or don't have them.
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I think that they're all missing a trick. And if they had like somewhere where you could get a bacon sandwich,
it just seems odd. The big selling point of CEF.
But yeah, a basic latte machine. We're there nearly every day anyway, so I think our account manager thinks we'll just bum it completely. But
if I'm not mistaken, the big selling point of CEF was it was free food, wasn't it, and free drinks, and then the branches don't provide tea. What are the rules?
Well, like I say, most of them do. It's just ours, it seems, that doesn't. And yes, I shall keep publicising that just to piss off John, my account manager. John, you tightwad.
What's CEF?
CEF Warwick.
CEF Warwick. And Edmonton Nottingham, sort your tea out, for God's sake, because I am pecking.
I'll tell you what, I went into Edmonton's last summer when it was really hot, and they had a fridge with free soft drinks in it. So, these things that they do, it's nice to think that a branch is looking after you in that sort of respect.
That's got to pay off, surely. I mean, unless people start taking the piss and taking 6 cans of Coke out of there. But if you go in there, you're sort of obliged to buy something. You're going to get all your bits and bobs, aren't you? Wagos and tape and all that, and stock the van up. So surely that must be a loss. It must make more money than it costs, I reckon.
You would
probably,
have
but like you say, it's a loss leader.
You imagine that a lot of people who are employed and they don't pay the bill for the wholesaler, they're going to go where the nice coffee is and the free drinks are. I know that my guys will often call into Jewson's as opposed to MKM when we need a bit of hardy backer board or some timber or something, just because they have a better coffee machine. They don't care that the wood's a pound more a length from one or the other. Doesn't matter to them.
Just want the free tea. Get into that then. We won't know about it. CEF, you both went. I didn't go, right? And I'm not normally annoyed about stuff like this because trade shows just don't appeal to me, but maybe that's because of the trade shows I go to. But I am annoyed I didn't go. And did you two see it? What about you, Mark? How did you find it?
I thought it was brilliant, just meeting people in the real world. It's the first proper trade show I'd say I've been to. Obviously, I'm on a self-exclusion from Elex, so I've not been able to go to any of those. So it was really nice just to meet people. Like Dave, I got the chance to have a chat with him and loads of others who've kind of made contact through the course of doing Apprentice 1-to-1 and seeing all the stuff that people are displaying. There was loads of stuff, loads of brands there, and just a really nice vibe.
How many halls was it?
How many halls? What, sorry?
How many halls did they have?
I didn't catch that. You broke up, mate.
How many halls did they have? What, just one hall?
One, yeah. But it's a big space.
Yeah. But
I think it was one hall. It was hall 9, wasn't it? It was a bit built out. Yeah, it was just a one big space, wasn't it?
And it's not just. Is it an independent trade show, or is it just brands that they flog or they own?
No, there's other brands.
I think it's brands that they support. I mean, there's not a lot of point in someone. Well, as far as I'm pretty sure that's the case, is it not, Mark?
Yeah, I think the biggest stand that was there was from Wago. They certainly won the award that CEF were dishing out. I think the IMD and Proteus one was voted the second best, and obviously they're a brand that's owned by cities. But obviously Wago aren't. I don't think they're an independent mighty company of their own creation.
I'm not sure this works. I'm interested in the inside out. So
I think if anyone pays, you can pay for a stand.
So if I pay, I can go and sell beanbags next year. Is that how it works?
I think you can. If you've got enough money, you need a lot though. I think the Wago one was into the hundreds of thousands, all said, finished, built, and put on.
Oh, we're not talking rent. We're talking, I mean, some of these stands are impressive, aren't they? Apart from the electrics, funnily enough, which are always the NEC are always dog shit. Every time I go to NEC to a church like that, it was done that. And ironically, a guy I know from the Army Reserves quite well, he used to be the electrical manager there. I just go, mate, every trade show I go to is garbage. Fuse boards hanging out at the top like spiders' webs and all sorts.
Funny enough, I was on site today with Phil the plumber, and he had a lad working with him who was boasting that he was at the NEC last week doing the electrics for another show. And he showed me some photographs on his phone. And this guy is just as like a labourer normally, but they just let him loose. It seems like when it comes to event electrics, it's like having your bathroom or kitchen done. You don't have to have a proper qualified spark. Any asshole with a screwdriver can do it because electrics is piss.
What a lot of people don't realise, I think I sent you to the video last night. I can't release it, unfortunately, but I've done a behind-the-scenes tour of the NEC. And a lot of people don't realise there's subways under the NEC, all underneath the halls, and there's all sorts under there, air and water and gas. Because I don't know if you remember back in the day, or if it's just me, but I do a lot of packaging machinery, and you'd go to the NEC, and they'd have full-on packaging lines set up. So they'd like, I don't know, they'd have, say, Mars bars, they'd pack them into boxes, then they'd have the machine that unpacked them, then they'd pack them again, and it was just a constant circle going round. But I think them days for trade shows like that are gone. It's all done via video now. They don't do it, but you go down there, they had full-on machinery set up, and it's just all done nothing because it costs too much. In fact, you look to get a pen now.
There was plenty of freebies on offer at CEF. I've got to say, there was loads of stuff being passed out. I met a kid on the way out, actually. He would come over to say hello, and he won a PS5. I think it was for it was either for Mario Kart or something else he was doing on one of the stands, and he won himself PS5. Another lad got a Switch as well, so there was some decent prizes on offer.
See, I'm going to ask all the questions then, because you two went and both loved it. Dave even put a video about it. We'll let him plug that in a minute, because he's put a video out about the thing. The two things, one, I didn't go because I didn't want to go. I didn't go because I double booked myself because I'm an idiot. But what was this purchasing all about? If you wanted to buy something, just explain this if only you know. This was quite interesting way of doing it.
It was a different process to what you would find at Alex. I think with Alex, you'd pay on the stand and you take your gear away with you. CEF, you were filling in a little ticket and then collecting it from kind of a main collection point. I guess so cities can track what they've sold on the day at the show, I guess. But the first day when I'd ordered quite a bit, there was massive queues. So the second day I waited till towards the end and there was no one there. So it was pretty straightforward.
It's interesting because CEF 2019, you could buy from the stands. I remember, I saw all this nanoleaf gear then. I was like, anything that changes colour and flashes, I'm like a chav to that straight away. Yeah, and I was walking. I was walking around with a couple of boxes of that stuff. But I was talking to my account manager today in branch, and what he was saying was they wanted to try and, instead of having people on the stands having to deal with writing out receipts and taking payments and handing out stuff, they tried to free up the people on the stands to deal with inquiries,
talking shop, just
to speak, to talk to the customers. So I can see the point for it, but I also think that I think I said this to Mark on the day, that you can get a certain feeling or a certain hype over what's being bought. I remember the first time I attended Alex in 2013. I think it must have been either Super Rod's first time there, or that they just come out with some rod products, because everybody's walking around with a rod set in a case.
Right, so you get the advertising there, right? Because you can see,
because you can see what everyone else is carrying around. And one woman came up to me going, "What are all these things that look like fishing rods that everyone's carrying around?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a rod set. It's the stand over there is flogging them." So I don't know if that was their first one or what.
I'll be fair to them. I used to just think rods were rods, and then because when I started for the firm I work for now, I bought some super rods because it's not my money. I just buy 150 quid set of rods. Fucking hell, they're loads better than other rods, aren't they? They are literally super. I couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over how something so simple could be much better. It's just bonkers. I'm sure you house bashers already know all this, but to me it was like a revelation.
Rude.
I was like, this is bendy. This is bendy.
No, the super rods are awesome.
Yeah, we were gutted. We lost ours a couple of months ago, and it's like, fuck, I think I know which site we left them on, but
You
we
left a
knocked on
whole
their door,
tube
and they're
of,
like,
you
no,
mate,
no.
you've not
Yeah, the
been
whole
back.
tube. Yeah, been back, and they were like, no, you didn't leave anything here. It's like, well, either that or we must have left it outside the van as we were packing up, and then just drove off. Either way, it's gutting, and we had to buy a whole new rod set at horrendous
I left the drill on my van once, a brand new DeWalt drill, out the case, just the drill. And I drove from Leicester, and when I got home, it was still in the van. Could not believe my luck. But yeah, to lose 154 quid, I lost something the other day as well. It's the most annoying thing as a professional tradesman or tying yourself out as professional. I think the worst thing to do is lose tools or misplace it. And I've literally lost the Nipex Cobra grips. They are not cheap, and I've put a set down somewhere and I cannot find them. The amount of those I've just put somewhere and left them there, and I've never gone back to them. And I'm probably making someone's day, to be honest.
Yeah, I lost a 40 quid pair of combi cutters just after I bought them on a big garden job I was on. I hunted around that site for ages trying to find them, and I had to give up in the end. I just bought the bloody thing, so that was annoying. But we can just go back to the subject of trade shows. Can I ask, Mark, if you're able to answer, why do you not attend Alex? Is there some kind of bad blood there or something?
I know, bombshell. Thank you for.
No, there's no real.
I just wondered.
There's no real bad blood, to be fair. It's just during COVID, when every apprentice was being laid off before anyone else, and full-time students, they had a policy of not letting in unemployed apprentices or students in full-time education, which kind of went against the grain of what Apprentice 1-1 was about. So because they wouldn't let them in, I said I wasn't going as well. And that still stands.
In fairness, is that still the case?
It is, yeah.
What, really?
I suppose they want the people there who have the purchasing power, but I do agree that they ought to concentrate less on getting the plumbers and builders in by advertising it also as a tool fair exhibition. Go back to
is that what they do?
Alex, yeah, and go back to what they were doing a few years ago. So when I went to college, we went and did a college course a few years ago. They used to the college the course started pretty much on the first day that Alex was on. They just used to pile all the students onto a bus and take you there, and you had a sort of day out. But that's where the youth, your future electricians, are best placed to get that sort of brand marketing.
I can't believe this
is the ground floor.
I thought so. They still do not take trainees or apprentices into their trade show.
I think the issue was they had a problem with a certain demographic who were at an event, and some of the exhibitors complained about it. So it wasn't without a reason, but as it stands, if you're an unemployed apprentice or an apprentice who's not there with your employer of a certain age, or a trainee in full-time study wanting to attend with your colleagues from the same classroom, they won't let you in.
Who'd have thought the young people earning more than the average person would be a dickhead?
I do need to say they will let apprentices in, because that's often what's pushed back in those discussions. They do let apprentices in, but you've got to be employed with your employer under supervision.
I do kind of get that age. Because CEF did an 18th edition event a few years ago, back in 2018, where it was an evening do. They're doing them all over the country, and again, our local branch laid on a bus. We all got on it. Free beer on the bus. Yay! You get to this event, they do a tech talk, and they got a few little stands. I say stands there, exhibitors in front of like tables, just showing off some of their wares and stuff. But the lads on the bus that are on, they all most of them work for this big company. They were just there for the fucking free alcohol, and they got absolutely wankered and acted stupid. And I imagine that it didn't go down too well. So I can kind of see that you get a bunch of lads together who aren't really in it for the tech talks, who aren't really in it for the event as itself. They were just in it as a jolly with their mates. Then the alcohol can get flowing, and the end results can be messy.
I must admit, when I went to college, I'm from Nottingham, but we went to Lincoln College, where I later got sacked from. Cheers, Lincoln College. And we used to have to go on the bus to Lincoln College every day, so it's half an hour. So in the morning, everyone's doing breakfast and stuff. And on Fridays, we used to do how much wine can you drink? So they'd do the how much wine can you drink on the Loughborough College bus on the way back, because you're young, aren't you, being stupid? But I think you're always going to get a bit of that, aren't you? And when you get a load of lads together who are on a bit more than everyone else, they're going to be twats, basically. But you think they factor that in, wouldn't you? And have a little crash or something for him to go in.
You would.
Well, for Weatherspoons, but for some reason, Weatherspoons at this place was bloody closed on the Friday.
I saw that on your video. Scandalous.
Is there any
My account manager turned up saying, "No, we're going to open a tab and put some money behind the bar, and we can all go and have a drink." Both Weatherspoons were closed. They've been closed down for a week apparently. So I don't know if they're refurbishing them or something. But what a fucking stupid time to do it.
Well, am I right saying that? Do you have the numbers, Mark? Because I know you was a bit more. Did they have 8,000 on the Thursday? I heard.
I think it was nearer 12,000 on the Thursday. I think, but I know from speaking to a lot of the people who were doing the exhibiting, they were saying how they'd had record sales on the day, but they weren't 100% certain that was a fact because obviously until people go to the collection counter to actually get the gear, the sale's not complete. So that was the other thing.
So you don't.
They weren't quite happy about.
So when you fill in the ticket, you don't pay, then collect. You collect it and then pay as well.
I think that's how it was working. I don't understand fully.
I suspect it would go on your credit account, wouldn't it? If you most people there like me will have a credit account, so they'll just there's not going to be any physical transaction on the day.
You've got so you're buying it off CEF. Is that how it was working? And you've got to go and get the goods to make the transaction complete.
Yeah, presumably. I mean, it's fair enough because they're running the event, so they may as well be the retailer that sells you the stuff. But normally, it's something like Alex. You'd go to say the Armix stand, which we spent a lot of time on, and you'd pick your drill bits that you wanted, and they would just cash that in there and then. But again, it saved them having to do all those sort of localized small fry transactions and write out all the receipts because you would just get a ticket, collect it at the counter, and then it would just appear on your next city's bill unless you didn't have an account. I presume that they wanted people in who had purchasing authority because I booked 3 tickets for me, Linda and Nigel. And they were like, why do you want 3 people there? And I think they would have been happier had each of us had our own sort of company email address that they could individually have spammed us with.
As it is 12,000 is a lot of Sparkies. What about date? What about the Friday, Mark? Was that quieter or busier? I thought the Friday would have been the busier day.
Definitely quieter on the Friday, and I thought the opposite. I thought people would pile in after they'd got out of work at dinner time on Friday, but it didn't seem to happen. I thought it quietened off on the second day.
So if you want to go, next time the first day is the day, is it?
Yeah, and they print you a little card, Jamie. You would love it because it gives you your name and your job title. And I met Ralph on Twitter. I've forgotten his handle on there, but he printed his name with dog's body underneath it, which I thought was a classy.
Because no one's checking him. No one's checking him.
When we went to the 2019 event, Nigel just said clown.
He said what?
Clown.
The problem with the trade shows is I get ignored. I don't know why. I just look like a dick, basically. So I used to go to the PPMA show, the Process Packaging and Manufacturing show, and I was the one with all the money to spend it. And I took one of my mates along with me, and because he was older than me and was wearing a suit, but he had no purchasing power whatsoever, whereas I had millions of pounds of purchasing behind me. All these people at trade stores were just talking to him, and he just there like trying to be polite, going, yeah. And he didn't have an absolute clue what was going off, but the people just ignore me. I've just got one of them faces, as we found out previously. But yeah,
it's a beanbag face.
It's the beanbag. Well, I saw you at the Unilight stand, you dick.
I was hoping that that bloke would have been there. I wanted to shake his hand.
Anyway, we're not doing that anymore because it's boring and it gets me into trouble. But yeah, so everyone had a good time. Out to improve on though. Is there anyone? Who's the players in the game? Actually, that's what I was going to say. You've got CEF, you've got Alex. Is that it? There's no other players in the game, is there? That's all you've got.
With some smaller events like is it what they're called now? I've forgotten the name, but it was at the AJ Bell Arena I went to one. So littler ones, there's the Napier Expos as well. That are a bit like technical rather than
installer show, which I just don't think knows what it is.
Yeah, there's the installer show. That's more plumbers, I think, isn't it? Never been.
Yeah, I attended that one with James Beck and Nick Bundy. And fucking hell, it's boring.
And what you
there's
said?
A lot of there's a lot there. That's like you say. It's for plumbers, gas fitters, that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of HVAC heating.
What was you saying about the Alex ones, Dave? They say they tart it out as a tool show as well.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I think is it sponsored by Professional Electrician, Alex?
I think it is.
I think that they also advertise it. and some builder publication they do as tool fair. And I think they also punted out to plumbers under a different brand, because when you go there, you normally get a free T-shirt. I've actually declined the last couple of times I've been there because I've got so many bloody Lex T-shirts. But they kind of say, what are you? Are you a sparky, a plumber, or a builder? And you get the appropriate T-shirt.
I think they all used to be separate, though, didn't they? I think they may have to combine that because of the climate.
I don't remember it being the case in the earlier years. I remember Alex was just like it was
just Alex
for electricians, as far as I know. But it seems to be something that seems to have happened in later. I may be wrong, but I just feel like some of the later shows we've attended, you feel like it's lost its relevance a little bit, and there are stalls there that you think, well, what are you doing here? And dirty plumbers and builders, you can smell them a mile off.
That's
Lee Burgess Agency was the other one. That's who does it. They do a few. I went to one at Stoke as well. So that's Lee Burgess Agency. Smaller events. There's maybe 20 to 30 exhibitors, just small stands.
Which is fine. The thing is, I think CEF from the outside looking in, because I think go, because I'm an idiot, it looked really sociable. There was a lot of people meeting up and all that stuff, which is great, the community stuff and that. And it did look like they put the effort in, which is
even the smaller stands were really good. Like Linny and I went over to speak to Lynn from there for a bit, and they'd put a load of effort in on their stand. There was lots of little corners of exhibitors stuck away all around that show, not just the massive Milwaukee and DeWalt stands that were there with all the goodness on.
The thing is,
we were there for 2 days and we still didn't visit all the stands. I mean, there was some that I'm actually gutted that we just didn't get around. There was some that I wanted to give them peace of my mind, and that sort of stuff. We just never got around to all of them. We visited a lot. Probably spent far too much time on some.
I'm copying you next time, Dave. Going on a train and getting smashed up. That's what I'm going to roll it. I'm going to do it like that.
Well, if fucking Wetherspoons is open, otherwise Linda and I were resorting to drinking tins of shit from a cafe. Just in some communal area outside the station.
I thought you took a rucksack full of booze of your own, but never mind. But yeah, what's worth noting is it's good because it's hard to touch stuff nowadays, isn't it? If you want to touchy-feely a tester or something, or some screwdrivers and that, I saw the Wearer stand, that was packed. But there's some stuff you see and think, oh, I want to touch it. So the only option to go is the trade shows. I'm sure like the TISs and the Flukes and all the tester brands do the smaller shows, but you've just got to ring up, I suppose, and ask them where they're exhibiting, because to actually touch gear nowadays is few and far between. Even wholesalers don't carry testers anymore like they used to.
And the Tech Talk as well, we've not even mentioned that, but they had those running all the way through. I went and sat through the EICR one with Mr. Bridgman, and we both looked at each other, were like, this is going to be good, with a dubious mindset, but it was actually good. Darren and Dave presented that really well. They went through best practice 4, and whilst we did disagree with lots of the codes within that, so did the presenters. So it was quite nice to see.
I think with the sort of the tech talks, you go in there sometimes thinking, I know this, so they're not going to tell me anything I don't know, but there's always some kind of nugget. I find that with a lot of the sort of CPD presentations as well. NIC do their CPD webinars, which I probably should attend more than I do, but usually it's 50 minutes of stuff that's just fucking obvious. and then 10 minutes at the end, they drop some little nugget where you go, oh shit, yeah.
And that's what you've got to be aware. A lot of people are put off by technical content, or like what I would call, like, not like this fucking around, proper technical content. People are put off by it because there's always going to be stuff you already know, stuff you think you know, stuff you think is wrong, and then you've got to with data and find stuff out, you've got to extract what you want. It's not about just taking it all, isn't it? And some people go in with that attitude and they don't really want to listen then, and then you're not going to learn anything.
That was like me when I first sat down at that Tech Talk, and then I changed my tune and took something. And I've got to thank Darren as well, actually, because he gave me 4 regulations books, about 200 of the little squishy mini regs books, and 200 of the Tech Talk cards from CEF to pass out to apprentices who were coming along, visiting and whatnot. So that was a really nice touch. So thank you,
what
Darren.
Squishy books were they? What colour were the squishy books?
These ones.
Oh, the actual
brown
brand, yeah. At the place I used to work when I was lecturing, we had about 2,000 of the blue ones because they knew the brown book was coming out, so they shifted a load of boxes onto it, all their waste. But what was the deals like as well? That's what I want to know. If I'm thinking about going next year, should I save my money to go, or is it all like normal prices?
I didn't buy
anything. You both
nothing at all.
Both tight and you both answer at the same time. So who's got the talking glass for a start?
Normally, I will pick up a few things this time because I was on the train. normally I'm at Alex in the van or whatever, and I can just chuck in whatever we bought. But yeah, there's not a lot I need at the moment. We're very well equipped for what we do. So it's more little bits and bobs for us. So, if, for example, on the super rod stand, you might find some like rod accessories that you can buy because you've lost the ones that you had before, all that sort of stuff. But there was no sort of real wow factor thing. We had a little hands-on with the Mega X1 very briefly. But it's like you say, it's just an opportunity to see what's out there and to get your hands on it. When I was in the market for a new tester at Alex a few years ago in 2017, it was the metal stand I was looking at, and they showed me the two metals they were doing, the touchscreen one and the non-touchscreen one. And I remember looking at it thinking, oh, I actually like that thing there. I can work with that. And I went out and eventually bought one. And had I not seen it sort of in the flesh, I probably wouldn't have considered it, because until you get to see these products in action, then you perhaps don't go out looking for them.
What
so
about
I think
you, Mark?
they're a good thing.
What about you, Mark? Did you actually buy anything, or just get given loads of stuff like Dave? Now he's a big time.
No, I did buy a few bits and pieces, but I did a stint on the super rod stand for a couple of hours, helping the sales department, or hindering them, depending on how you view my efforts. But they had some good offers on that R1, R2, link wire, and the super cam.
Don't say that for Dave.
Yeah,
Dave's
I know Dave's not a fan about it. I heard him discussing it in
what?
front of the
There's
super
one
rod
here,
fan,
look.
so he's not hidden his views.
There's one here. This is one. This is the early one. And I bought these. I thought that's quite a novel idea. They're all right. There was all right at college, just for demonstrating that when you try to do for fast. But like you, Dave, someday is going to sling that in somewhere they don't want to be, aren't they? It's too easy. It's like, it's not.
I'm all for innovation. It's just a personal thing. I think it runs a bit of a risk, and it's going to happen to somebody one day. Because let's face it, when you turn that breaker off, you don't. A lot of people aren't getting their voltage contact detector out and checking that it really is off.
I really want to like it. It's innovative, and I've got two of them, which I bought to do a video on about whether the magnetism, what resistance is in the magnetism. But I've not got one in my testing bag because I'm like,
I also think that it's a bit dangerous in that if you clip that onto the earth bar, and again, if you haven't turned the board off and it's swinging around where the around the buzz bar, again, it's too much of an accident waiting to happen.
Are any of you two familiar with the term anti-reflex?
No.
Done any HV? So in HV,
I've got a dead leg. I've got to stand up.
It's getting old. In HV, you have a thing called anti-reflex. So you have anti-reflex handles. So if you ever look at an HV handle for especially on Schneider switchgear, you have to put the handle in. It sort of like hooks in, and then when you pull it down, it turns on. You can't turn it back off again. So if you make a mistake, you've got to stop, take the handle out, turn it round, put it back in, and then throw it up. And that anti-reflex gives you time to think about what twat you're being. So that a lot of HV stuff designed for you to go, hang on a minute, this is stupid what we're doing. And that with these magnet things, it doesn't give you that thinking time. You can just literally take it out of one breaker, slam it in the next one, and realise you haven't turned it on. What I would like to see in these, I would like to see these with a fuse in.
Yeah.
I've got test leads with crocodile clips on each end that have got an inline fuse in the middle for some of the stuff I do. I just think they could maybe incorporate some of that, so there's a bit of safety. But yeah, they're not a bad idea. But if you are going to use one, make sure you know what you're doing, because I'm experienced now, blows to 4 at a time without bits of shit like this. So yeah, go.
I guess in its intended use as an instrument, when it should be dead, having a fuse in might impact the values it's providing. Oh,
yeah.
But they were on offer anyway. They were about $12.50, I think, plus VAT. And the super cam was under £100 on the day, which was a good deal. A couple of the guys who came up on the bus from East Yorkshire bought themselves one of those. That was nice to see them spending some money while I was doing my sales effort. And I also learned that Collingwood are starting to do 2 years on-site warranty of their industrial and commercial range of LED lighting, which was nice to see, where they'll send their own engineers out to correct the equipment when it's inevitably gone wrong, as LED lighting sometimes does.
Do you remember when LED come out? It was the best thing since sliced bread. Now it's just a bit shit.
The trouble is, LED done right is perfectly fine. It's just too many manufacturers are cutting too many corners. That's the problem. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the technology. It's because it's being made on an economy that isn't standard. Too many corners are cut.
I think it's a bit unfair there to blame manufacturers. I think a lot of the corner cutting is because of people. Like probably Sparkies and the final user going to too expensive, but it'll last 10 times longer. Too expensive. I've seen one for 10 quid that blows up after a week.
Yeah, exactly. You're quite right. You're not going to be able to sell someone a Stein bloody floodlight when Screwfix are chunting out LAP ones at a fraction of the price, and you can, maybe it'll last, maybe it won't. Probably it won't, but it's just a risk, isn't it? So, I've got a video coming up about that sort of stuff.
Everything I buy now that's a bulb, I get from IKEA. If IKEA don't do it, I'll go on such first. But IKEA stuff is rock solid. Can't get enough of it.
Yeah, LEDs. Absolutely, I agree. I've said that for years. I've got a blog on my website saying IKEA LED stuff, fucking solid, fucking bulletproof. Trouble is they closed down the IKEA in Coventry, so I can't get any anymore because there's nothing around here. But whatever LED stuff I've ever bought from IKEA, none of it has ever failed. Sadly, I don't know. Well, I don't know if they make things like floodlights anymore. But yeah, I really rate it. It's one of the few manufacturers who were there from very early on as well. They were putting out LED stuff long before others were, and but their stuff is from my experience made to last.
I've got Aurora LEDs in my house that are from the first batch of LEDs I bought 10, 15 years ago. But now you buy them, they seem to last about 10 minutes if you don't buy them from someone like IKEA. But I just think the technology of that is being driven now by everyone, wholesalers, users, and the manufacturer themselves who will just sell shit.
We had a battle recently with a local parish council who were having the clock tower re-illuminated after a number of years, and some of the other people pitching at that were specking the cheap Amazon LED lighting because they wanted color changing and some snazzy stuff like that, and we priced with Dextra, and it ended up being into the thousands just on the material aspects. So it makes a big difference when someone else is pricing some 50-watt RGB LED lights off Amazon at 40 quid a pop.
That, Mark? Did they understand that?
They did. I mean,
which is unusual nowadays, isn't it?
They'd had a problem.
But it's got all these 5-star reviews.
They'd had a problem with the original lighting install. It was only really done in probably 2011, I think. So they'd already had a bad experience of going with a cheaper solution, which was just batten lights holding some fluorescent fittings, bayonet fluorescent lamps in this clock tower. And obviously they'd all failed. The pigeons had destroyed most of what was up there, and they wanted something a bit more long lasting.
I was quite surprised with the customer. I don't know if customers are coming back around to it, especially in that kind of environment, like the councils and stuff. They are actually going, oh, we actually do want decent stuff, because to erect a scaffolding or get a cherry picker and to do something like that is more cost prohibitive a lot of the time than the actual work itself. And I think they're getting sick of it.
Well, they've got a 10-year warranty now on the materials and the work, so it's a no-brainer. But it is a discussion at the quotation stage that lots of people are interested in. To be honest, let's be realistic. Most people just want to see the lowest number.
From my cities today, they've got a little brochure out on the next round of fluorescents that are going out from February.
Who's even still buying them? Who's even still buying that?
The thing, it's annoying because I know we're going sort of off topic here. But I know we're going off topic from where we started with the trade shows, but
it doesn't matter.
Like we look after a community centre, for example, and they got it's a 20-year-old building. They got fluorescent lights everywhere, and I keep on telling them until I'm blue in the face. You give me a room, I'll tell you how much it's going to cost to convert that to LED, and then we can work out what the cost savings are going to be over and how quickly it's going to pay back for itself. And because we put a 2-year warranty on anything, that's 2 years where you're not paying nobody for any maintenance on the lighting in that room. Any problems, we just come and sort it out. And I just cannot get fucking through to them. They will not give me a room that we can use as a sample, and they will not tell me what they're paying for their electricity. But their sports hall, the lights are about 15 meters up. They're all fluorescent lights. Each one of those luminaires now has they've got three 1500-watt tubes in. They're down. Each one is now down to a maximum of 1 tube. Some have gone completely. It's getting so dark in that fucking sports hall. Eventually, someone's going to come with a cherry picker and have to sort it out.
Can you not get them anymore, or is it just so high you can't get to it?
They're too high to get to. You need some proper. I don't even know that we're going to do it because we're not trained to run a cherry picker or anything like that. But someone's going to have to go up on a high level or erect a scaffold or do something to get to these lights, because no one's touched them for goodness knows how long, and each one's now burning out. But you're fighting with people who just look at the budgets and think
the thing is as well with lighting design.
Can't spend on this.
I've had a few instances with lighting design where I've got property. I think is it Disarno Lighting? I've used them a few times for like offices and stuff. And we did an office block when I had my own firm, and it was like a single-story, old-school prefab buildings, yellow walls, all loads of fluorescent tubes that all yellowed and that, and that's where the offices were. And we moved into this new, the new offices that we'd done, and they were moaning, "It's too bright, it's too bright." I was like, "Just give it a week, it'll settle down." And after a week, everyone stopped moaning. Then about 3 or 4 people stopped wearing glasses because there was obviously Cat 5 louvers, didn't glare and all that. And people just don't realise how bad lighting is until they have new light, and they're like, "Oh, well,
we always say to people, whenever we change lighting, we say, look, any change of lighting in any given room, because obviously most of our stuff is domestic, any given lighting, any change of room, you're going to notice a different ambience to that room. But if you give it a couple of days, you will retune to that, you will adjust to that. It's just going to be a bit of a shock at first, because we've done it in schools before, where we used to look after a school where we'd go in and change to the old failing yellowed fluorescent to an LED strip, and then you get all these fucking crybaby teachers going, "Oh, it's bright for us." So I'll just tell them to fuck off for a week.
It is all the kids. David Savory says, "Fuck off," like that. But it is, people don't like change. That was coming. There's nothing that people don't like more than change. And when it's light, they go, "No, I don't like it." But if I was like, just wait 24 hours and you'll think it's okay, but they just won't have it.
You come to trade shows.
Yeah.
Can I throw another question out there that's different to the trade shows? Because someone messaged me on Twitter and asked if I would ask you two what you thought about this.
Oh, really?
It's nothing that
it wasn't Unilight, was it?
No, nothing to do with Unilight. It's actually a question about something that they've done at work, and they wanted a second opinion on, and I've given mine.
Well, I don't mind giving mine. You know that.
No, well, basically they've done an EICR on a domestic property that's going through a sale process. And they've issued C2 codes because of no RCD protection to sockets that can be used outside and equipment that's in a bathroom. And it's got currently 3036 fuse wires protecting it. The customer didn't like that and went away and got another EICR done by a different contractor from a different CPS provider. And he passed it through with no issue whatsoever and said that he was just looking to get a consumer unit change out of them. So I wondered what you two maybe thought of that.
EICRs are not worth the paper they're written on. It is an absolutely shambolic industry full of fucking chances, and you get what you pay for, don't you? It's literally, you can have, what flavour EICR do you want? I can tell you Sparkies now. I can literally get people in my phone book, and I can get someone who's a pass, and someone will tell you what's wrong with it. Dave's the pass. Mark will tell you what's wrong with it.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Sometimes you have to take the age of the installation into account, or at least that's what we do. So we did an EICR recently on a house with a 16th edition board. And what we could say about that was, yes, some old dear had lived there for years and they popped their clogs, and a new owner had now bought it and wanted to do it up. And what we said was the electrical installation is okay for what it is. It's okay as it is. You can move in and use it. It doesn't meet today's requirements, but it met the requirements that it was installed to. The earthing's good, the insulation resistance is good, the polarity is good. There's nothing broken or anything like that. It's just dated. It's not dangerous. You still have, I mean, obviously RCD protection is great, but let's remember that it's additional protection. Your earthing is your primary protection there, and the earthing is sound. But what we said to them, sorry?
EBIDOS back in the day. EBIDOS.
Yeah. Again, you got to look at your bonding and everything. But yeah, but the point was that although we could pass it as was for use as is, if they want to do anything with it, then you're talking about if I want to put a new kitchen, they want to start moving sockets about, if they want to do an extension, a new bathroom, any of this sort of stuff, which they're all going to want to do, then it's not really fit for purpose, and we're talking rewire territory. So because the installation was that old that, like I say, in its current form, it's not dangerous for continued use, but it's also not fit for purpose for modification. So that you have to sort of, again, I say you have to. We take it as a sort of almost like a sort of line in the sand. What's it? what's the history of the place, what's it being used for, what's it going to be used for in the future. And as long as you're careful with how you word everything, you can probably get away with it. But like you say, one person's opinion can differ so much to somebody else's.
When it's T391, I'm literally saying to people as well, someone's paying you for your opinion. Like, that's what it is. It's there are rules, but all rules are open to interpretation. You're being paid for your opinion, and you can get any opinion you want. So, I mean, does anyone do EICRs for people that aren't their own customers or their own jobs nowadays? Like, because you can't compete with £60 from the van EICRs, can you? And you don't want to. And there seem to be a lot of them about.
There is a lot of that knocking around.
Unfortunately, we don't see that much of it. When people ask us for an EICR, they don't seem to be bothered about, because we charge per circuit. So the size of the installation matters, because you can't base it on bedrooms. That's just ridiculous. Mm. But we had a woman that we've done work for in the past, and she's got a big electrical installation. She's got like 4 fuse boxes scattered around the place. It is a sizable property. And based on our per circuit pricing, even with a bit of a discount thrown in, she was looking at 700 odd quid for a domestic EICR. And obviously she balked at the price and said, I'm going to try and find someone cheaper. And I said,
was this why she kicked off? Was it Karen?
No, it wasn't. But the thing is, I said to her, look, whoever's going to come and do this, it's going to take significant time. We base this on like 4 man days worth of work for the amount of circuits that are there. Me and Nigel there for 2 days, each of us running around gathering this data. And, maybe it'll take longer than that. Who knows? But based on our per circuit pricing, that should cover the amount of time that we needed to get the information. Anybody who does that in half a day, well, it doesn't matter whether they're charging. Maybe they'll charge 300 quid. It's fucking pointless. So there's no point paying anybody anything.
The best people say to me, do you do RCRs? Like, I go, no. Can you recommend anyone that can? I go, yeah, I know a guy who's really, really good. He'll come and do it for you, and he'll do it properly. And then they ring up and go, did you get your RCR? And you're like, oh no, it's too expensive. I've got someone else out of the paper. What did you ask me for then? Why did you ask me? Did you think I was going to do it cheaper? And then they're like, you give them the list and they're like, oh, well, you're not my friend. Like, they're not. You want someone that's not going to rob you, that's going to tell you exactly what's wrong. And those people are hard to come by. And when you get a recommendation and they don't use it, like, well, if you get robbed, fuck you. Don't give a shit.
That's the value in the process, though, isn't it? That it's done properly. You want to know if an installation's safe or not. Not how much it's going to save you by cutting costs. It's, exactly. And it's totally pointless, isn't it? It's silly. And yeah, I don't understand it. And you're right, Dave. I agree with you that it's a kind of inspector's call, isn't it? You need to put the value in that rather than what a guide from one CPS provider might say, or from industry in another direction. You're using all of that and you're training and experience to come to a decision on your code. And there is that line in the sand. I think for me, with the RCD aspect, if there are sockets that have been used outside, I'm going to give that a C2. And with the cabling in the bathroom, if there's class 1 light fittings, probably the same as well. But I wouldn't fall out with someone who took a lesser view of it based on their understanding. If they've done their inspection and testing correctly, it's just a different view, isn't it?
Plus, if you're buying a house or you're selling a house, you know how many ICRs you should have done? In my opinion, 2. Because the person selling the house can get one, but to the person buying the house, that's not worth shit, is it? Not worth anything. It's just a bit of paper. They could write what they want. If you're going to buy a house and you're going to spend, I don't know, 200 grand or whatever the house costs nowadays, I'm going to say, I want my own electrician to come around there and give me an ICR. Because even if it's a brand new Barrett home, it's probably crap, allegedly.
Oh, yeah.
The shit.
Well, we actually pulled the plug on what we called hostile EICRs because we had a very unpleasant incident in Stratford-upon-Avon where the buyer wanted us to health check the place. And this
what a genuine, a genuine
yeah, because he was buying the place and he wanted to know, is it sound or not? And this fucking miserable old couple who lived there, they just saw us as people who were there to try and pick fault to get the price down. And they were very confrontational and very uncomfortable to work around. And we were very polite, of course. We actually had a guy with us sort of on like a work experience thing. Came out with on the van today and must have wondered what the fuck he'd come into. And it was, but the thing is, these people, they'd not had any condition report performed off their own backs. So no one had looked at their installation for years. It was a 16th edition board that was in. And they were saying, you've got to leave the place exactly as you find it. And I remember Nigel got particularly wound up because the guy was saying, my oven clock's wrong. You put the power back on now, my oven clock is set. And we don't. He was like, well, we don't really know how to set the clock on your own. Can you not set it yourself? I want everything back exactly as you started.
Oh.
So we had to piss around setting this guy's oven clock. And
what I always do is always turn it back on at 12 o'clock. Like, if you got clocks in your house, turn them all off at 12 o'clock, turn it back on, they're all right.
I don't know why ovens have to be so bloody complicated in the first place to set the fucking time. But yeah, that experience just made me think, you know what, we don't need this. So we said on the website, we're not going to do hostile EICRs anymore. So only EICRs where we're...
Have you got any jobs you will do now? You don't do it.
There are all sorts of things.
You don't do hostile EICRs. You don't do CCTV. You don't do... What do you do? Just ring mains and lights. That's it.
We don't do ring mains either.
If you was a window cleaner, you'd only do bungalows, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. There comes a point where you think, okay, I've got enough going on here that there are certain things that we can just say, nah, we ain't going to do that.
It's not a bad idea, actually, because otherwise you end up carrying around tons of shit on your van, don't you, that you don't need.
Yeah, I think that if you're selling a house, it's like selling a car without an MOT if you haven't got some basics on there, like an electrical check, gas safety, that sort of thing. Go and get that information for yourself, for your fucking buyer, so you can say, look, I've had it all checked out. Here's the paperwork that says it's all okay. If you want to get an independent check on that off your own wallet, then you go and do it.
And then obviously the couple like you just mentioned, they'll say, well, it's been all right for the past 40 years while we lived here. And you're like, well, so was Piper Alphaduct, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
You can say that, but how do you know that your earthing is right until one day you plug in something that's going to throw you across the roof? You don't know. Just because something works doesn't mean it's right, does it? I hope they're dead now. Old fuckers.
I hope they died of their own non-RCD protected 3036 board, the bastards.
I hope the house they bought burnt down.
Brutal. Are we mentioning the buy me a coffee for Sam, or has he pulled the plug on that?
I was just about to do it. So yesterday, Sam has been off, right? And we're not saying he's skin. He doesn't need our charity, but what we do know is he just started a firm of his own. And we know it was expensive because me and Mark speak to Sam outside of this podcast, unfortunately. So I thought I'd do as bars of coffee, just like I rang Dave and he told me how it all works. Like, I'll just do a bars of coffee and see if anyone on the pod wants to support Sam because he's off. He's been off. I think he's off still. He rang me today, but he sounded like a deranged retard because he just didn't know what was going off. So I think he'll be off work for a few days. And Evan just started on a new journey with self-employedness. I know he's going to be a bit tight, so I thought I'd just stick a bar's coffee up. 381 quid? Fucking hell. I know he's going to get that much and I've done one for myself. What a twat. So yeah, cheers everyone who's pointed to that. Some absolute, I'll not read them all out because if you go on our bar's coffee page, you can see everyone who's wants to know what they've put in can be seen. There's a few like secrety ones. I must add now that one of them was Dave, but he's not very happy about it. So Dave Savory, thank you for your £10.
That's all he's worth to me.
Someone's put a ton in, like, you know what I mean? Fucking, I didn't know we was that or Sam was that entertaining, but clearly is. So yeah, thanks to everyone that's put on that. You'll be pleased now. I'm not going to send this money to Sam. I'm going to send it to his wife. So Sam, you've got no money coming your way, but your missus has. But yeah, cheers for everyone. And what we're probably going to do is, and when Sam's better and back on, we're not going to go scrounging for money, like just give us some money because we're not going to do that. But what I have found out this buy me a coffee, which is not bad actually, you can be a member and you can pay a certain amount a week. And what I thought I might do is, once he's had that cash and he's done something with it, we might have a membership thing, but we'll make sure we churn it all back into the pod. Maybe get some stickers done, give them out to people, something like that. It's just an option because I didn't think anyone would give us fuck all, to be honest. But turns out
that'll come in handy when Verso drop you.
Yeah, anybody else. Who's going to drop us? This is a bastion of technical information, but you never know. But yeah, thanks to everyone that put in for that. Really appreciate it. I'm sure Sam will as well, even though he might be a bit miserable about it. But yeah, I'll let him do the thank yous when he gets back. But yeah, spot on. Thank you very much. Anyone got any more before I declare this podcast over?
I'm done.
That's it. That's all we got. So what we're saying is CEF Live is all right. Go down there. Don't do hostile rewires for people. Don't do EV chargers. Don't go to CEF on a Friday if you want to go to Wetherspoons. And other than that, I declare this podcast over because I'm not nicking Sam's phrase. See you later, you racists.
Bye.
because we're
You
banging
made it out me saying bollocks.
Cunts! I'll chop this on the end.